on the road to recovery in Castle Rock, Colorado. Live from Millville, New Jersey, I'm on the road to recovery. We're on the road to recovery in Morgantown, West Virginia at Mountaineer Field. And live in Scranton, Pennsylvania, I'm on the road to recovery. Here I am on the road to recovery from Berlin, Maryland. Hey, from Caseville, Michigan, I'm on the road to recovery. I'm on the road to recovery at Ann Arbor, University of Michigan. On the road to recovery here in Western Pennsylvania. And I got a chance to finally catch up with a girl I've been following for a long time, Christina Burns. Published author, her book, A Journey Called Life, is incredible. Her story is incredible, and she just has a compelling way of telling it. I'm glad she's in my life. I'm glad I get to share her life, her journey called life with you. On the road to recovery, this is Christina Burns.
I would say that life began before addiction began, if that makes sense. I mean, everybody has a past, everybody's path is a little bit different, but we all respond differently to our environments and our upbringing. As a child, I came from a broken home. The bits of stability I did have was when I got to go and be with my grandmother, who was my mom. I called her mom ever since I was a child. Both my parents went through their own addiction and their own issues with mental health, and I think for the most part I felt very alone in the world. A rough childhood full of chaos and drama and hurt. I drank and I used drugs in high school, but it was more my behaviors that I acted out with. It wasn't until I got married the day before my senior prom, and after I graduated, I moved down south with him, and that lasted a whole total of 6 months. And so when I came home from that and felt like my happily ever after that I had hoped for forever ended that quick, I just gave up. That's when I was introduced to and fell in love with instantly heroin. I didn't even know who I was, let alone how to be a healthy me. And it's much easier to nod through the day than to work on yourself. My first counselor didn't save me. My first rehab didn't save me. My second one didn't. I can't say that my third one did, but I can say that they all planted seeds, and they were all seeds that I needed to have grow. Yeah, my recovery story is not, it's not any prettier than my addiction story. I mean, real life doesn't, it's not all puppies and kittens and lollipops and whatnot, you know. Like I said, I was done with the drugs, but in order to change, it's so much more than just taking the drugs and alcohol out of somebody's system. It's an entire life change. So drugs and alcohol were never my beginning issue. There was a core issue that brought me to those side effects. You know, there was a deeper underlying issue or issues going on. Otherwise, drugs and alcohol would have never even seemed like a good idea in the first place. The drugs and the alcohol, it's so overwhelming when you first get into recovery, because it's all, you know, oh, you can never use again, oh, you can never do this again. That's a lot of overwhelming feelings for somebody new to this. So my advice would be to not focus on what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next year. Focus on right now, in the minute, in the moment, in the second. Every breath you take counts, every choice you make, every choice you don't make. The people you surround yourself, the people you don't surround yourself in, those are all huge components of getting yourself to a point where you feel like you're living a happy, healthy, productive life. I wanted to help people and to be fulfilled in life and feel like I actually made a difference. So I went to Penn State. My son and I went to Penn State, and I was working 2 jobs and raising a child, and couldn't afford daycare, so he went to all my classes with me. 12 credits is full-time at Penn State, so we took 18 credits all year long, didn't take any summers off. We did 6 years of school in 3 years and 6 months. We got a Bachelor of Science as well as a Certificate of Chemical Dependency and Prevention Counseling. In the beginning of my career, I worked with veterans, homeless veterans. I worked in mental health, behavioral health, drug and alcohol as a counselor. And then at a few years into that, I decided that I was going to put that on hold and really try to get the message of personal experiences and, you know, finding that inner strength, not only finding it, but holding on to it when all else seems hopeless. So I would say that my road to recovery has been very well-rounded. I've been at the bottom of the bottom, and I've come up pretty far, and the only way that those things happen, number one, by the grace of God, and number two, I'm not perfect. I've fallen down a million times. Failure to me has always been an option. Quitting was never once an option. So no matter what it was that I experienced, felt, saw, heard, I just didn't give up. I can tell you it gets better. Don't lose hope and don't give up. Everybody's path is different. Just because yours is different than somebody else's doesn't make theirs right and yours wrong. We're all humans, and as long as you get to where you're going and we can help each other along the way, I think that's really what matters the most.
Hey Christina, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your story, for coming all the way to New Jersey for that TV talk show that we did. I'm so glad that you are where you are, and now you're overcoming so much in college, and now you're in the field. What a story, what a journey, what a compelling champion and advocate of recovery. On the road to recovery with Christina Burns here in Western Pennsylvania. I'm Michael DeLeon, and we'll see you on the next episode of On the Road to Recovery.